Hello, I'm Emmy.
And I'm Bea.
We're a French-Filipino couple in our 30s and we started out as a long-distance relationship.
We crossed the world to be together many years ago.
And this is our post-LDR life.
Hello. Mic test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic test.
Go away,
1,
go
2.
away.
Me?
No,
You want me to go away?
No, just the bugs on the mat.
This is the bug. And they just want to listen.
There's just a few bugs to solve.
I keep looking at the laptop, but the camera's here.
Yes. Hello, audience.
You're a phone on top of a French Lord of the Rings book on a guitar stand.
You really are.
We didn't prepare because we didn't really plan on filming these. Plural, right? We'll probably...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's something we did think about several times and something we felt we wanted to head towards.
Oh yeah, we have.
We did, right?
Yeah, I forgot.
And then, I don't know, we didn't plan to get there that early, but also we didn't plan to have that much time between episode 2 and episode 3. So in the end, I guess we're sort of on track.
But also, a friend we have in common
Yes.
suggested it again.
If
If you're listening or watching, I guess, thank you, Lauren.
Yep. This is for you.
The whole thing. You reminded us, and now we're making do with the guitar stand.
Yes. The setting is nice though.
The setting is really nice. I hope you don't expect it to look like this every time.
No, yeah, this is...
We can't really bring this tree back home with
No.
us.
The weeping willow must
Yeah.
stay in France.
Yes. Speaking of France, we're in France.
Actually. At my parents' house in Brittany.
Well, outside.
Under... Yes, okay. We're in the vicinity of my parents' house. Under the weeping willow in the garden.
And
It's very beautiful.
we're wearing normal clothes outside.
Yes, because it's summer, believe it or not. There is such a thing as summer in France.
Yes.
And it can be more than 15 degrees.
Emmy says
Who
this
knew?
because every time we come, it's like winter. It's really cold. Like, it's usually a very cold, whatever season it is.
Yeah, exactly. Not only do we come in the coldest seasons, but they're abnormally cold when we're around. So
And even this summer, I heard from someone was abnormally kind of
yes,
not hot.
so far the weather has been below average. So we have something of a streak going on. But still, as you said, we're outside
Very
wearing
nice.
t-shirts,
Yeah.
and it's comfortable.
On a banig.
And it's August 1st,
Yes. Oh yes, it's August 1st.
which is
Our monthsary.
our 165th monthsary.
And it has only been a few days after Emmy's birthday.
Yes, I just turned 34.
So that's actually what Emmy's really excited about coming home, because this is their first first birthday back in France in how many years? 13? 12?
13 years, yeah. The last summer I got to celebrate in France was my 21st birthday.
Wasn't that in Greece?
That was just before we went to Greece.
Okay. So yeah, every birthday after that they've spent in the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly. Even before I moved to the Philippines, I would visit in the summer and when I was free as a student. And so my birthday fell during my Filipino visits every time.
It's very cool to think about how long it's been since your first.
Yes,
It-
who I was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to imagine.
Just this afternoon, I was saying, you changed so much. Like, Emmy was walking through the door back into their bedroom. And I was just like, you changed so much. Like,
It's true, I did. Yeah. I mean, everyone changes obviously between their 21st and 34th
within
birthday.
a decade, everyone.
But I guess I did change a bit more than the average person would
Trying to
during that
think
time
of
frame. Do a sound check.
Okay, clap, Emmy.
Clap, clap.
I don't know if that worked. Oh yeah, I can see it. Look. Wow. So professional.
Yeah.
Okay. So where were we? Let's
monthly
back to
birthday. First time in France.
Yes. This is our first summer. No, my first summer in France. Emmy's first birthday.
In 13 years
In 13
in
years.
France, and yeah, first proper summer also in 13 years.
Much has changed.
Yes. People change.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully for the better. In my case, I can say definitely for the better.
Definitely. I was just saying earlier that they changed so much, but sorry, I'm letting the wind
Yeah,
pass.
the wind is.
Do you see the leaves falling down? It's so beautiful.
One fell on the laptop.
But yeah, they're definitely happier now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We might get into it on another episode.
Yeah,
but for now,
I think so.
let's.
Yeah,
just
we
say-
have a bit of an agenda for this episode. Not that kind of agenda. There are some things we wanted to talk about today.
Yes. Look at this little paper.
Yeah, I posted. If this is a scary agenda and it fits on here, yeah, you should be concerned. So.
Oh, God. My gosh.
So. Yeah, because we're entering our mid-30s. I guess at 34, it is your mid-30s. You're no longer in your early 30s.
Yeah, that's true.
And the passage of time has begun to be a thing we're a little, not obsessing over, but much more concerned with than we used to be.
On our last episode, we said that we would talk about attention and how to wrangle our attention.
This ties into that.
Because
what we've noticed is that time passes by
so slowly. Time goes by.
Okay, time goes by more slowly when you do a lot of things.
Yes.
And things that grab your attention without you really wanting to pay attention to them are detrimental to that.
Or paradoxically, when you do more things without paying attention. So
Yeah.
it's really about the attention.
Yeah. So like purposefully
This
doing
is not
more.
a scientific.
No, yeah, we're not coming at you with all the facts and the studies.
This is an anecdotal experience-based
It feels right though.
talk.
Yeah.
You feel free to agree or disagree wherever you can find the
actually
comment
yes.
box.
You can also interact with us on this. You might have a very different experience of how time passes. I think we all experience it rather differently. Are you calming me down?
No, I'm cleaning my hand on it.
Even better. Wonderful.
Unconsciously, I'm sorry. I did it unconsciously. So very nice.
This episode is gonna be a little crazy.
We're gonna have to edit a lot.
We're just not used to being outside. I think we're not meant to be outside. I think
Yeah,
we're
it gives
inside
us,
dogs.
It gives
like,
us too many like happy hormones that we just kind of lose track of what we're doing.
yeah, it's like we have the zoomies, but we're in sitting, so it's like verbal zoomies. Yeah, so slowing time down by being more conscious and present in all the things that we choose to do. And so that's kind of the theme of our summer, I guess. But hopefully it goes on past the summer and becomes how we live our life from now on. Because I think I can safely say we both have a big problem in attention and like screens. Yeah, let's just be honest.
That's
the
how we met.
screens. It is how we met. There are beautiful things that can happen through a screen, through the magic of the internet. But it's also a
Let
helicopter.
the billionaires pass by.
No, I think it's a little prop plane actually.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty annoying.
It's not the helicopter.
Yeah, so we both have a big issue retaining our attention, focusing on things that are not immediately flooding us with happy hormones the way games and social media can.
Yes. So, because is it drizzling?
No, I don't think so.
It's probably just insecty.
Better, much better.
So, this we thought was a good time to film, to record. First of all, because it's overdue.
Yeah, it's been 4 months
Again,
since
so
episode
we
2,
keep, like,
which is even more than
yeah.
between episode 1 and 2. It's getting worse.
So we'll see if we actually get to record another one before we leave. But after Emmy's birthday and our Mansuri today, we felt, like a new burst of energy.
Yeah. Motivation. Willpower to do something.
And even a little bit after, we've had a few things that we've been trying to change gradually. Personally, mine really kick-started after your birthday, but you have been doing something.
Yeah.
Still on your phone.
Yeah. The screens are amazing in that they give you access to all sorts of tools, also to get out of the problem that they cause. So they can be a bit of a poison and its cure sort of thing. So one thing that I've been doing now for a couple of months is tracking how I spend my time. So I have a time tracker app on my phone, and every time I change over to a new task, I just enter it on there. It's just a couple of taps to just end the task, start a new one. And it allows me to kind of look back and see how I've been spending my time and where I've spent what I feel is too much time, and maybe where I can self-regulate a bit better. So one of those things, for instance, is I found that in the past 2 months I spent about 5-6% of my time playing phone games, which might not seem like much, but it's actually huge. Especially considering a third of my time is spent sleeping. So 5 or 6% of what's remaining.
If phone games actually give you a lot of happiness and you feel engaged in it and you don't regret it, then that's fine. But a lot of the time we do a lot of things on our screens, big and small, that feel a little bit automatic. We feel compelled to do them rather than choosing to do them. And that's really more of what we're trying to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. There are games you can play on your phone that are pretty brilliant and that can be very fulfilling and very creative. These are not the types of games I'm playing, unfortunately. I'm playing the typical time killer games. They're there purely to
kill time.
We
were just thinking about like how the phrase killing time is so much different from spending time. Like when you kill time, you just kill it, you don't get any value from it. When you spend time, hopefully very consciously,
you're getting something in return.
You're paying your time to get something in return. And in the same way, your attention is paid. You pay your attention because it is a currency in a way that you have to give it up. So you have to make sure that, or it would be great if you could assure that you're getting something valuable in return of your attention. And a lot of the things today that, like we can only develop physically so much as a human race. A lot of the new developments in like business and what people are trying to invent have a lot to do with taking that attention, because that is the currency now. Our resources are dwindling, but there's an infinite well, not really actually infinite. Everybody has a finite amount of attention because everybody has a finite amount of time. But for these things that want to take our attention, they have almost an infinite supply of the attention. It does pay corporations, but it doesn't help us as humans to live whole and happy lives necessarily.
At least not me, not right now. And I'm aware of it. Like, again, as Bea said, like, you can get like real fulfillment from playing a phone game that you really love. but I don't really love those games. I just use them really to pass time instead of doing something else, which also, leads to other questions, which I'm also exploring, as why do I need that? And so another theme for this summer is therapy. Really delving a little deeper into
What
things
are you escaping?
that I've been putting aside and not really digging through in ways that probably need to be addressed. So we're both at the beginning of a therapy journey. And we feel like it's also a way to regain control of time, to better understand why we struggle with attention, with the passage of time, with what to do with the free time we do have, and to make better choices.
Yeah, for every person, their definition of a problem when it comes to attention, focus, time, it's always different, right? Because we choose what's important to us. But for us, we definitely could see that there's a bit of an excess when it comes to escapism. We are both very heady people. We tend to need help to embody ourselves, like in our body, like be in our bodies. For me personally, like this morning, I keep saying morning because the days are so long here, but it was already the afternoon, like middle of the afternoon. But this afternoon, I was watching a video about focus and attention, and it basically offered like two different kinds of approaches. One is more related to the Western style of like tackling a problem where you're supposed to like remove distractions, you're supposed to block out time, assign it to a certain task. It's all to avoid having to exercise your focus muscles. And one is more related to kind of like an Eastern approach where you're actually honing your attention, your ability to take back your attention and focus through meditation, through observing yourself when you do encounter these feelings that make you want to escape whatever your situation is and just look at the screen or like play a game or something. Of course, the best approach usually is somewhere in the middle, right? And it's not really black and white. By the way, the YouTube channel is Answer in Progress. You might already know this channel. But yeah, I thought about how for me personally, I'm not sure if I have ADHD, but like I've been on a journey.
Though, yeah.
I've been on a journey of like trying to figure it out. I'm in therapy right now. But I've always tried the approach of removing things that might take me away from my own motivations and my own decisions and like my own activities that are chosen and not just compulsions. But what has been helping me, because I cannot actually remember all the time what I set out to do, like I it's hard for me to say like, oh, at this time I never have to do this. Like it's hard for basically structures that are very rigid. They're very hard for me, and looking at time in a linear way is very hard for me. Everything is happening all at once in my brain. But what really has helped me is the part where you observe your reactions, you observe your emotions, you try to hone your focus so that when it does inevitably happen that you're taken away by something, you are better at bringing it back. I do a lot of journaling, and a lot of what I write is about like, what do I notice goes on in my head when I'm dysregulated. Like, why can't I sit and do this? And then I try to. It's a lot of pattern recognition, and it's a lot of feeling like you're starting back to the beginning of your journey. It doesn't really feel like you're always improving, but like when we look at like just the last decade, I feel like I've changed so much. What would you say?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because even that habit of writing is something that's not easy to keep on a daily basis for you. What differences do you find in yourself when you do get to write versus when you don't?
there's like a continuity, like you know how like it's hard for me to see time as a line when I journal, and then there's like synchronicities, and there's like things that repeat on the journals, or like things like, oh, yesterday I said this, now I have some added insight on that thing that I wrote about yesterday. There's this feeling of like continuity, that time is moving forward rather than everything is happening all at once. And there are things where like I put a question and then I answer it on the same book, and it just feels like there's like a physical manifestation of you unfolding as a person, or like you learning things. And I never actually, almost never read those journals back.
I was going to ask you.
I almost, but like it's almost like when you put something in the physical world, your brain remembers it in a different, like, this sounds woo woo, but like what I'm saying is like, you know, when you write something down in class versus if you're just listening to the teacher, your brain has the memory of the teacher saying it and the memory of you writing it down. So it's like that. Like it doesn't have to be like your notebook isn't just a storage of what you're writing down. It's also another trigger of a memory to reinforce the information.
And it's a very powerful tool for memory, because like for instance, I know like one thing that people often try to do is like have a dream journal. And it's bugs. I think we all know
biodiversity.
we all know how difficult it is to remember your dreams from just making a mental note when you wake up. Oh, I'll remember this, versus actually writing it down. Like it really makes it so much more solid when you do write it down, versus when you just say, I'll remember this. I'll try and remember this.
Yeah. You remember the writing of it.
Yes, exactly.
Like even
and
when
then you have something tangible. If you do, in the rare occasion that you do want to go check back on it, you do have it.
Unless it happens in the dream, which is what I was going to say. Oftentimes, I'm like, I should write this down. And I write it down,
It's
but I'm still in the dream.
Okay. Wow.
But then I remember that I had something to remember. Then it helps me remember the thing. Even though I wrote it. That's proof, right? That's proof that it works if you write something down. Just the memory of writing it down helps you remember the thing you wrote down. Anyway.
But yeah, writing is powerful. Like a few months ago, there are more bugs than I anticipated here.
I still like it.
A few months ago, I did quite a bit of writing when I was going through a lot of changes, and it really helped me, again, with the passage of time. A lot of the way we feel the passage of time is in how we change. And so marking down how we change is also a very interesting way to reflect on it and slow it down, and be more present in each step that we go through, and be able to look back. And when I wrote, and we had a lot to reflect on about the changes I was undergoing, and we actually went back to read that several times in the weeks and months following, looking back for like like a time frame of how things happen, like a sequence of events.
And I think it's important for each individual to mark changes in their own personal lives, because oftentimes when we think about time and like we think about milestones that happen in the world, when we try to like, what was 1992 like? I wouldn't remember. I was 2 years old. But you know, like we usually remember, we usually feel compelled to keep abreast with like, Emmy and I, at least, I know some people are better at having like
a filter,
but like one part of like what kind of keeps it, a lot of people, I would say, glued to their phones is like having to be updated on everything. And again, it's also a double-edged sword. Like it's really important to know what's going on in the world, but at the same time, it could be hard to regulate yourself when things get too heavy, you know? And a lot of the time when there are big things happening, it could be very hard to find actually how to influence the situation. There are many situations that you do have the power to influence, but there are far more situations where like each individual cannot actually change the trajectory of like a whole world. Like, but as a whole, like as a collective we can. That's why we need to be aware, because
Yeah.
like we all
Yes.
have to kind of be pushing a little bit, even if
Yeah.
it's not at all at the same time, even if it's not all together, even if we fight each other, we should all be kind of pushing towards
Yeah.
a certain direction. So it's
Absolutely.
important to pay attention, but it's very important also to know what
When
your
you're
capacity
getting
is.
overwhelmed, yeah.
When you're getting overwhelmed, you will not be on your best I guess your best condition to help the situation
Absolutely.
either,
Yeah.
and you lose control over yourself. And this is
Yeah.
what is, I think this is a big tendency with us nowadays, those who are sort of glued
Chronically online.
to the feeds, chronically online. You know, like there is a good feeling of like being connected and knowing, but that has to be balanced with inner knowing, like knowing yourself, which is what we have been trying.
Yeah.
Because I noticed also, and I wrote this down on my journal, it's like when I give more to the process of like when I give more when I pay more attention to my inner feed, wow, scroll I give more attention to my inner feed, like my emotions,
Yeah.
how I'm growing as a person. It's not like black and white where like the more I give here, the less I have for there. It's actually like the more I feed inside, the more I have, the more energy I have to pay attention to the outside, because it
Okay.
all feels embodied and connected.
Mm-mm.
It's really paradoxical, but like the less I try to regulate myself and spend on myself, the less I have to give, and like the more impatient I am, the more angry I get, the more sad I get about the news. But when I give to myself, it feels more like, okay, I'm like grounded.
That makes sense. I mean,
I'm a
like,
tree.
when you take care of yourself, you do become better able to take care of others and
Yeah.
the things around you, and just paying attention to your surroundings.
So all of this, like, we're just sharing, right? We're not here coming to
We're
you
not
as
giving
experts.
lessons,
We're
on
going
how
through
to do things.
therapy.
Yeah.
We're trying to move. We're trying to improve on ourselves as well. So we're just trying to kind of mark time and
Yeah.
show the
Yeah,
developments.
exactly. It's always interesting to make a point of looking back at how things are, have been, will be, looking forward, I guess, in that case. And the passage of time also is something that allows us to better understand the interactions between ourselves and others, which is again something we also explore in therapy. And I had an interesting question from a therapist recently. It's a family therapist, this one, which is, how do things that happened in the past affect the present, and in different ways for each person? Which is a deep question with like a lot of implications and a lot of things to think about in terms of, again, how we see ourselves, but also see our situation, and how well we understand it, explain it, and how much control we have over it, which is really the part that we're working on at the moment.
Yeah.
Regaining some control over where we are and how we use the time that we do have.
This whole podcast slash, I don't know, podcast.
Yeah.
Even though it's in, I still have a hard time
The
wrapping
video
my mind.
podcast.
Video podcast.
That's a thing.
This is like a journal in a way. This is not us being experts, like on a podium talking to. Definitely not. This is like an open journal. Like we used to have a blog.
Yeah.
Used to, or like we still want to
we
continue
do.
it. We're just really
It's just
bad
that
at like
we feel like
updating.
this is the format that makes it the most organic for us to talk.
We
Well,
might still
literally
do
talk.
it because that blog is more about the past. Like we try to remember.
Bay is a better writer than I
Yeah.
am.
No.
I don't know, maybe, okay, if not in quality,
Yeah.
at least in ease. Writing doesn't come easily to me
Mm-hmm.
the way it does to you.
Yeah, I
And
guess so.
I think
No, you're just more anxious, but actually you're good at it.
Yeah, but even if
Actually,
yeah,
I didn't contradict you there. You
yeah,
said the
right,
same thing.
yeah,
Sorry. There is more ease.
yeah.
Like I
Um,
want it
and
more.
so
Mm.
last December, when we were going through
Mm.
all sorts of things, we felt like we needed another kind of outlet to
Mhm.
express ourselves together.
Mhm.
Something to do together
Mhm.
where we can share a bit of ourselves together.
And it's also a reaction to like how we want to grow as people, because we're both kind of introverts
Oh,
that
yeah,
are
that's
trying
true.
to be more
Yeah, that's
extroverted,
true.
like not to change but like to just
Grow.
grow.
Mm.
Yeah. Not because being an introvert is bad or anything, but like
No,
we just
but
want to
yeah,
expand, like we want
exactly.
to.
You can be an introvert and still communicate
Yes.
with people in a manner that is powerful, effective,
Mhm.
forward, even.
Yes.
So that's what we're looking for, and this medium felt like the best compromise for the
Mhm.
two of us. Um,
We're still trying to
but there are other
be
mediums
better at
to
being
explore.
regular with it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
go through a lot of anxiety in our daily lives, and like when we have to do something we get really anxious around it, but that's also, I think, our anxiety is part of what makes
Yeah,
us
yeah, definitely.
super
And again,
attracted to screens.
yes, back to the regaining
Mhm.
control, and part of why we're in therapy, both of us, is
Mm.
really trying to address those sources of anxiety.
Mhm.
Because, well, for instance, the podcast itself, a few weeks ago, we were pretty determined to get started with
Mhm.
recording, and then I don't know, very minor things happened, and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden, all our motivation got
Yeah.
shot instantly.
Mhm.
Just from overthinking it
Mhm.
and not feeling like the moment was perfect. I don't know. There's no
Mhm.
such thing as a perfect moment. At some
No.
point, you do have to jump into it,
Mhm.
and this is what we want to beat together.
Yeah. Yeah.
By actually doing it, hopefully making it easier and easier to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we're here. Hopefully you're into it.
All right. So that has been our Monthsary pod.
Yes,
Monthsary
Monthsary
birthday
podcasts.
pod.
Last one was March 31st, so just before
Easter and
Easter.
Visibility
Yeah,
Day.
Trans-Day Visibility, yeah.
And
So
now it's birthday. Hopefully, we don't have to wait for Christmas to
yeah,
come
no
back,
God, yeah,
or
yeah. Let's make it
even
happen
Samhain or Halloween, because that's when we go home. So
Yeah.
hopefully before then
I'm sure.
we come back.
We'll
We'll find a
see you
reason to.
soon, or you'll see us soon.
We'll find something in time to mark.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Thank you.
Thank you if you're still here and
Yeah.
paying
See
attention.
you all.
Thank you for
Next
paying
time.
your attention, for
Yes.
spending your time with us.
Look at that.
And we'll see you on the next pod.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you for listening to us. This podcast will also be uploaded on YouTube at Bea Wildement, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments. So if you have questions that you'd like to ask us about this topic or any other topics, if you have stories that you'd like to share with us, we'd love to read them. So please don't hesitate. If you'd like to support this podcast, there's also a Patreon, also at Bea Wildement, where you can also get updates on the progress of this podcast project of ours. So thank you so much for listening, and see you again soon.